Hello and welcome to this yoga class today. We're actually going to start standing, so if you want to come up to your feet if you're not there today. I'm Natalie, and this is going to be a 45-minute yoga class today, and for kind of just a little switch things up today, we are going to do some Yin Yoga. So we'll do a little bit more moving to just warm up the body slightly. And then most of our class will be a slow moving class where we find and hold poses for a couple of minutes at a time. The idea behind Yin Yoga is to really promote circulation and flexibility. So you find your way into a pose, and then by staying there, you create kind of some compression in your joints and muscles. And then when you release out of that pose, the blood rushes to that area. It's really good for you. And it's just kind of a nice thing to do a little bit differently. I will talk you through everything that we're going to do as we get started. I do have some notes on my phone, so if you see me looking at my phone, I'm not checking Facebook. I just have a few notes that I wrote down because while I do certainly have some experience here and have done some training in Yin, I wouldn't consider myself an expert, so I've got a few notes to guide us along. But I want to assure you that you can always take any modifications that you feel like you need. And I'll repeat this when we start to get into our Yin poses, but the idea is not necessarily to get into like the biggest, hardest stretch you can get to and then just make yourself stay there. The idea is to find a way to be in comfort in the pose and then hold it. So we'll talk about that a little bit more as we get going. To start with, I want you to just stand up tall, look down and notice your feet on the floor. Have them right underneath your hips and see if you can feel all four corners of your feet touching the floor. Let's just inhale, arms up. We're going to take them to about 45 degrees. So not all the way up, but a little past shoulder height. And then go ahead and turn your palms up towards the ceiling and think of dropping your shoulders down into the sockets. So even as you raise your arms, drop your shoulders. And take a couple of nice long inhales and exhales here. I want you to make sure your knees are unlocked and pull your belly button gently back towards your spine in order to provide some support for your core. Feel some warmth created in the arms and shoulders. Beautiful. All right, on the next inhale, we're going to take arms up to the sky. We're going to use the left hand to grab the right wrist, and then we're going to exhale over into a side stretch. So using that left hand to pull the right arm up and over. Try not to move forward or backward. You want your arms and your body to kind of be in the same plane there. Again, knees are gentle, supporting your core. Good. Inhale yourself back up to center. Exhale, arms to that 45 degree. Relax your shoulders. Beautiful. Inhale, arms up top. Exhale, right hand grabs left wrist. And big side stretch for that left side now. See if you can really open up that side body and try not to crunch the shoulder up to the ear. Good. Let's inhale, arms up, and this time exhale all the way down. A couple of small shoulder circles. Bring them up to your ears, around, back, and down. Good work. All right, we're going to inhale, arms up again. And this time when we exhale, I'll turn to the side. We're just going to look up towards the sky. I want you to imagine you're holding a big beach ball overhead and take it slightly beyond center. So it doesn't need to be a big, enormous back bend, but just a little back bend. See if you can drop your shoulders away from your ears. Thumbs point back. Keep breathing. Beautiful work. On a next inhale, big stretch, and then exhale, bring those arms all the way back down to mountain pose, stand up tall. Okay. All right, we're gonna take a step out to the side with each foot and turn the toes to the corners of the room. So if your short end of the mat is to me, you may be sideways now. Think toes to the corners of the room, and we're just gonna inhale, sink down in the legs, reach the arms up. And again, can you find that beach ball? You don't need to take it to a back bend this time, but can you hold that beach ball overhead? Feel some warmth coming to the legs now. Big stretch here. Good work. Inhale up, straighten the legs. Exhale, arms down. Now take both hands to the inner thighs. We're going to inhale here in our standing pose. Exhale, bend the knees, slide the knees out towards the toes. We're going to take the right shoulder and drop it down towards the center. So hands press against thighs. Just let that shoulder press down towards the floor. Take a couple of breaths here. Pressing into the pinky toe side of each foot. And let's switch sides with the shoulders. Same thing, other side. Drop that shoulder down, open the legs wide. Good job. Come back to center. Keep those knees bent. Tuck your chin to your chest. Roll and slowly lift up through the spine and straighten the legs to stand up tall. Good work. All right, step to the back of your mat. So you've got your mat out in front of you. We're going to do one more big inhale, reach up and overhead. Find that beach ball and take a small back bend for me. So just a little stretch to the back. And then exhale, come all the way forward, reach down towards your toes, forward fold. Relax the upper body. Inhale and exhale. Maybe you shake your head, yes and no. See if you can really let those arms go. All right, and then we're going to bend the knees so that we can bring the hands to the floor, and we're going to walk out to our downward dog. So hands walking forward, little steps with the hands till you've gone towards the top of your mat. Settle your heels down, reaching hips up and back, downward facing dog. Couple big inhales and exhales here, and maybe you want to pedal it out through the legs if that feels good. Bending one and then the other. Good, and then on an inhale, I want you to lift up onto the balls of your feet, bend your knees, and go ahead and bring your knees all the way down to the mat. So we're come to a tabletop pose here. We're going to untuck the toes, so let the tops of the feet settle on the mat. And you're going to walk your arms out in front of you. Let your chest and forehead settle down towards the floor. You can rest your head all the way to the floor if that feels natural, or you can keep it lifted. But extend your arms out long in front of you. And we're going to enter the yin portion of our practice now. So we're going to settle here for just a couple of minutes. And I want you to see what you need to do in order to feel like you can stay here and have it feel like a release. So maybe that means you need to bend your arms, bend at the elbows. Maybe it means you need to stack your fists under your forehead. Maybe you can keep those arms out long. I want you to think of the mantra, let go, and live happy. And that's going to be our little saying in our yin poses today. Let go and live happy. And I want you to see if instead of trying to stretch and make this big, you can find a place where you can settle to stillness. So make any adjustments that you need to make in order to feel a little bit more comfortable. See if you can keep the hips lifted and make most of the adjustments in your upper body. And relax into the pose. We'll be here for just a couple more breaths. And remember, the idea is to find that surrender into the pose as opposed to trying to make it bigger, stronger, harder. All right, good work, friends. Take one more big inhale. And then on your exhale, go ahead, walk your hands in towards your body so you can come up to a high kneeling pose. And then turn to face the long side of your mat. So the long side of your mat is in front of you. We're going to inhale, arms up to that 45-degree position we did in the warm-up. But now I'd like you to turn your palms back. So instead of palms up to the ceiling, palms towards the back. We're going to take the right leg and extend it out to the side. And then reach those shoulders back behind you. So you're actually pulling those shoulders back in space. We're going to keep the arch side of the foot on the floor. Take a big inhale. And then on an exhale, we're going to just bow forward as we reach the arms back. So up to you how far you want to bow forward here. If you feel like you can come down to more of a 90-degree bend, go ahead and do that. You're going to continue to reach the arms back behind you. I'm going to tell you right now, this will be one of the more difficult poses we do, so don't be scared and think, oh my gosh, this whole class is going to be challenging. This is going to be a challenging pose as we stay here for a couple of minutes. Please know you can make adjustments as you need to. See if you can make small adjustments that make a big difference in the way that you feel. Then also see if you can just let go, if you can surrender into the pose. Remember, we talked at the beginning, part of what we do in Yin is kind of crunch in on ourselves and bring the compression to those joints. So we got a lot going on here in this one. We're going to stay for 2 more breaths. So let's inhale together. Big inhale. Long, slow exhale. And one more big inhale. And long, slow exhale. And then very slowly, I want you to lift your upper body first. And then pull that knee into the side. Let the arms go down to the side. Bring your knee back in and take just a minute to breathe. Let that blood rush back around your body. Feel any release that you might feel. Excellent work. All right, we're going to do a different pose in between sides of that one, but we are going to send our leg out to the side again. So this time, left leg out. We're going to take our right hand to the mat. left arm up overhead. And then I want you to turn and look up to the ceiling. We're going to keep the palm facing to the floor as we reach the hands up and overhead, the arm up and overhead. And then as you surrender into this pose, I want you to see if you can bring your shoulder back in space just a little bit to bring a little bit of a back bend to this pose. So we're getting a big side stretch, but I also want us to get a little bit of a back bend. So really opening through the left side of your body. Relax your head, relax your neck, and breathe. Remember, let go and live happy. If you're feeling pressure in that right wrist, remember to press the fingertips into the mat, or you could even go to a fist. So you could make a fist with that left hand. Sorry, right hand, man. I'm struggling with left and right today. The hand that's on the floor, you could make a fist with that hand. And as you breathe and surrender in this pose, see if you can just reach a little bit further, let it be a little bit bigger. Keep breathing. Feel your belly expand and contract. Good work, friends. 2 more big breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. We're going to take that top hand, slowly bring it down from the side. Push off the bottom hand and bend the extended leg to come back to kneeling. Go ahead and kneel down. So bring your bottom down on your heels. And take a couple of breaths in between. Just notice how you feel. Notice that release. If you feel like this makes you a little dizzy when you come out of the pose, just remember you can move real slow and you can take a minute to let that circulation return. We literally are sending blood to those stretching areas, right? So when we come out of it, the blood's rushing into that area, which means it may feel a little like it's rushing out of your head. But you're doing great. All right, come back up to your high kneeling pose. We're going to take the arms up to that 45 degrees, pressing palms back, pressing shoulders back. We're going to extend the left leg and hinge down. Call this a bird pose. You're flying. Try to keep the arch edge of that outside foot connected to the floor. So you hinge forward. Remember, you can decide how far to lean forward. If you just want to make it a small lean forward, or if you want to try to come all the way down to 90 degrees. Both are just fine. Let go and live happy. Good. Big inhales and exhales. Not easy, but really worth it. Good. Let's take one more big inhale here. Exhale it out. All right, release the hands down. You can bring the fingertips to the floor if you need. Bring that extended leg in. Come back up to your high kneeling position. Good work. All right, one more. We're going to do that challenging one on the other side. from here on out, it's a little bit easier, okay? So stick with me for one more challenging one. Extend the right leg this time. Left hand is going to tip down to the floor. Right arm is going to reach up and overhead. Palm faces to the floor. And then we're going to turn the head to look up. We're going to bring that right shoulder back in space as we open it up into a bit of a back bend. And then see if you can settle. If you can surrender into the pose. And breathe. Remember, if you're struggling with that wrist that's down on the floor, you can dig those fingertips into the floor, or you could make a fist. If you're struggling with your neck, please feel free to let your head go to any position that feels comfortable. Just find those little ways that you need to adjust in order to be able to let go. All right, 2 more breaths in this pose, friends. Inhale. And long, slow exhale. One more time, inhale. And long, slow exhale. Take the top arm, bring it down to your side first. Bring the extended leg in onto your knees and then press off of that bottom hand to come back to your lifted kneeling pose, and then bring your bottom down on your heels. Good. A couple of deep breaths here. Just notice how you feel. Notice what you feel happening with your circulation, with your muscles. Good work. All right, we're going to go back to that puppy posture or downward dog on your knees. So face the top of your mat again. Walk those hands out long in front of you. Keep your hips up. And then what I'd like you to do is take your left arm and bend it to 90 degrees so that your forearm comes right down under your forehead. Rest your forehead on your forearm and let that right arm continue to be long and reach towards the top of the mat. And you can even use your fingertips to walk those fingertips out a little bit further. So long, stretching right arm, hips up towards the ceiling. Forehead relaxed on your left arm. Breathe into your belly. Are you gripping or holding anywhere that you could release and surrender? Good. Take one more big breath in for me. And then on your exhale, go ahead, pull your right arm in back to your body. We're going to lift up on the forearms here. Peek at me if you need to. And then we're going to take a little bit of a twist here. So the left arm is going to stay on the forearm with the elbow down and the arm extended out from the elbow. The right arm is going to reach up to the side. So you're going to extend that arm up to the side and reach up towards the sky. If it feels okay to your neck, go ahead and turn and look up at that hand. If it doesn't, then go ahead and release it. Look down towards the floor. But reach that right arm up and then see if you can settle. Remember, we don't want to focus on stretching beyond your comfort level, but we want to try and find a comfort spot and then stay there. By doing this twist, you're helping to open the deeper tissues and fascia of the upper body, releasing tension and also strengthening those muscles and ligaments. Take one more big breath in, reach that arm up, and then exhale, bring it down. Good job. We're going to spread the knees wide and sit back in a wide child's pose this time. Walk those arms out in front of you. Exhale and release. Let that blood rush back to where it needs to go. All right, lift your hips. Walk the knees back in line underneath the hips. We're going to settle back down into that downward dog type posture. This time the right arm is going to bend in so that the forearm is underneath your forehead. Hips are going to stay lifted up towards the ceiling, and the left arm is going to reach out long. So that right arm becomes a pillow under your forehead. The left arm continues to reach long. And as you breathe, see if you can settle. Let go and live happy. All right, on your next exhale, go ahead, lift your hips up a little bit. We're going to put the forearms down, the elbows right underneath the shoulders. Keep those hips lifted. Send the arms straight out from your elbows, palms down. We're going to leave the right arm on the mat. We're going to take the left arm and reach it up to the side. Create your twist. And again, if you can, you're going to turn and look up to that hand at the top. But we want to be really gentle and kind to the neck. So if you need to, just turn and look back down towards the floor. If you find yourself shaking a little bit, you're not alone. Try not to collapse too much into that right shoulder. See if you can think of pressing yourself away from your mat. Let your legs support you. Make sure you've got weight in both your left and right knees. Good. Inhale in. And exhale. Bring that arm back down. So this time we're going to keep the knees underneath the hips, but we're going to send the hips back towards the heels. And then I want you to drag your arms all the way down your mat so that your hands are reaching down towards your feet. Come palms up and let your forehead or the top of your head come to rest down on the floor in this really closed up child's pose. And take just a couple of deep breaths here, as much as you can, with your body all closed up. See if you can still send some breath down into your belly. All right, on your next exhale, rise up. And we're going to come to sit on the mat. Face the long edge of your mat again. And what we're going to do is have both feet at 90 degrees with your feet off to the left. I'm sorry, both knees at 90 degrees with your feet off to the left. So we call this mermaid pose or deer pose, where we have both legs off towards the left. Both of our knees are bent. And then we're just going to take a little twist over towards the right. So bring your right hand to your left knee, your left hand behind you, and I want you to grow your spine tall before you start to twist. So think lift through the spine and then gentle twist. And what I'd like for you to do is, as we stay here for a couple of minutes, see if you can start by feeling the twist in those hips and in the lower spine. And as you get here, or as you stay here longer and you're able to surrender into the twist a little bit more, see if it can gently progress up your body so that eventually we're twisting through the mid back, the upper back, and even through the neck as you turn to look over your right shoulder. But see if it can be gradual. If at any point you feel like you're pulling or yanking to get into that twist, back off just a little bit. See if you can let it happen a little more naturally. Continuing with your deep breathing. You may even want to add some sound to those breaths. All right, let's do 2 more breaths together. Big inhale. Long exhale. And 1 more. Big inhale. And long exhale. Good. Let's take as much care and time as we slowly come back out of this twist, turning back to the center. Good work. We're going to lift the knees up in front. Put your feet on the floor and just see if you can let that release happen as you come to the center. And then we'll go off the other way. So bending those legs to 90 degrees again. This time, feet go off to the right. We grow the spine tall in the center. We put the right hand on the left knee and grow the spine before we start to twist. And we let the twist happen really slowly. So again, starting in the hips and lower back. And then just really easy, we surrender into the twist, let it happen naturally. Eventually, maybe we turn the head and look over the left shoulder if that feels good. Again, see if you're gripping or holding anywhere. See if you can surrender that. Let go. All right, 2 more breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. All right, and then slowly and with care, gently turning back to the center. And this time we're going to come to cobbler's pose, or that diamond shape with our legs. So we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees open to the side. We're not going to crunch forward or sit forward. We're just going to continue to sit tall. So you're welcome to either have your hands on your feet or your legs, or you can even take your hands behind you and prop up your upper body a little bit. And just let those legs settle open to the side. A couple of big breaths here. All right, and then we've got one more working pose here and then a couple of minutes to relax before we finish. We're going to go ahead and leave the legs open to the side here. We're going to thread the arms underneath the legs as we come forward. Now, you can kind of decide what this looks like for you. I'm sure you've noticed throughout class we've been doing a lot of big opening of the heart. And in this pose, we're going to go ahead and let it close and come in on yourself. So you're going to slide the arms underneath the legs, and maybe you just come to rest with your hands here. Or maybe you work the arms underneath the legs so the hands can come to feet. And you go ahead and collapse in and forward, let your chin come to your chest. And like I said, if that feels like too much or really uncomfortable, then go ahead and just keep your hands on the floor underneath your legs and let your head come forward, your shoulders come forward. And maybe you can start there and see as you continue to breathe and surrender if you want to. Slide those elbows to the floor and reach all the way underneath the legs to the feet. let your head hang heavy. But even as we crunch the body forward here, I want you to let your lungs remain open. Continue to breathe down into your belly. Remember, you don't need to reach for the furthest expression of the pose, especially not right at the beginning. Just let yourself gently surrender into it. Find a place where you feel like you can stay. Notice if you're gripping, you can release and relax anything to the floor. All right, one more big inhale, and then I want you to use the exhale to lift up out of the pose. Pull those arms from underneath the legs, sit back up tall. Take just a second to breathe. And then we're going to move into our final relaxation pose for just a couple minutes at the end of class here. You might choose to lie flat on your back. You're more than welcome to stay seated. You can cross your legs and bring your hands to your heart. Maybe you want to lie on your side. Just have like 2 more minutes here, so I want you to be comfortable. So it's up to you if you'd like to lie down. I'm going to stay seated here. Whatever relaxation posture you choose to take for these last couple minutes, I really want you to see if you can close your eyes and continue to breathe, feeling your belly expand and contract. And whether you're sitting or lying down, again, see if one more time you can just surrender to the pose. There's a little bit of magic that happens when we decide to release and let go. Definitely physically, but also mentally and emotionally. It doesn't mean we don't care, right? We continue to act with care and consciousness. But when we can kind of let go of pressure and tension, it might allow us to sink deeper into the things that are important. I love that the lessons we learn on the mat in yoga can be so applicable in our lives. All right, if you're lying down, go ahead and wiggle around a little bit and then join me back in a comfortable seat. If you're already here seated, go ahead and let your chin drop down towards your chest so you take a little bow, hands at the heart here. And let's take one final big breath in together. And then just bend at the hips, little bow to seal your practice. Good job, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you feel good. Be well.